Hello everybody, my name is Dusty and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that happened a couple weeks ago. It's something that I thought was kind of funny. It has a good ending to it, just to preference, but I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was a funny story. A couple weeks ago I posted a video kind of going over my hamster cage, kind of going over why I got it, how I got it, and things like that. And a lot of you had great input on what I can change, how I can improve it, how I can get it up to that gold standard of hamster care, and I took all of that into consideration, and I designed a 40-gallon tank suitable for Baxter to live in for his entire life. Now, when I designed the cage, I really hadn't thought about adding in a cover because it's so high, there was no way he could climb out unless he physically crawled up the glass to get out, which, I mean, is impossible. Or at least I thought it was impossible. I, on the side, besides going to school and working at the Humane Society, oftentimes dog sit for people. That dog sitting includes going away for a weekend or a week to watch their dogs while they are out doing something. God knows what they're doing, but they're out doing something. And usually when I dog sit, what I do is I come home, I kind of just feed the animals, make sure their lights are turned on, and then move on. I really don't do much else besides that, just because I don't have time. During that time, I was watching a dog a couple weeks ago. I came home, turned on the lights, turned off the lights, fed the animals, and left. Now, Baxter is a nocturnal animal. Hamsters are nocturnal, so I very rarely see him throughout the day, so it wasn't uncommon to me to think that he was just sleeping. After I was done dog sitting, I came home and I was sitting on my couch watching Riverdale, which is my new obsession. It's insane. I've watched every episode of Riverdale, and it's only been a couple days. But anyway, I love Riverdale. And I was watching Riverdale, and I see this thing kind of run past the corner of my eye. And the last time that happened, one of my African clawed frogs had jumped out of the tank and kind of crawled its way around my room until I found it next to my computer. So I wanted to make sure there was nothing there. So I moved a Christmas tree that was kind of in front of it, and I just see Baxter staring at me. Now, my initial reaction was, this is insane. This isn't Baxter. How could this be Baxter? He's in his cage. So I reached down, I picked him up, and I looked at him, and it was Baxter. But before I could put my other hand and close it, he jumped out of my hands and ran underneath my TV stand. So I immediately jumped up and ran over and turned on the light switch. But by the time I got back to my TV stand, he was nowhere to be found. Now, my sister has a cat. His name is Skittles, and I was terrified that Skittles would find Baxter. So I put out every trap I could think of, put food around the house, put his wheel out, put some of his old little containers for his bedding, hoping maybe he'd burrow, things like that, and I sat on my bed. I sat on my bed and watched TV, patiently waiting for him to come out. I figured last time he came out because it was quiet, so I turned off the lights, turned off everything, and just sat there and watched. And for a good 2 or 3 hours, I didn't see anything at all. It was completely quiet. I couldn't figure out where he was. I had searched every corner of my room, and I couldn't find him. I was worried. In my sister's house, there's 2 basements. There's the basement I live in, and then if you look back there, there's another basement. I was terrified he had gotten down there. Now, that's the storage area, so we really don't do anything down there. That's just a bunch of boxes from when I was moving, and if he had gotten into one of those boxes, he was long gone. I would never be able to find him. So obviously, I was scared. I didn't know what to do, and I got to the point where I was panicking. I started looking up videos on the internet about people's hamsters who escaped, and trying to figure out how in the world I can find this little thing in a room, like a gigantic room, and there's so much it could hide under. I just didn't know what to do. So I figured, you know what, I'd take a nap. If I took a nap, maybe it'd be quiet enough, he'd come out. Maybe he's just scared of me. Maybe I kind of shocked him when I grabbed him. So I moved some pillows and I went to go lay down, and I noticed these little black dots on my bed, and my first instinct was, oh my god, I have bed bugs. But they weren't moving, so I picked them up and I was looking at them, and I was like, you know, these look very familiar, but I can't figure out where they're from. And I happened to just look over at Baxter's cage, and I realized it was poop. Baxter had been in my bed. And it made me think, well, if Baxter's in my bed, and I found this poop under my pillow, I wonder if he's behind my bed. Now, my bed, I thought was pressed up against my wall, but it turns out there's this little, like, pizza-shaped crack that ran all the way along my bed. So I kind of pushed back my pillows and pulled back my bed just enough to look down, and I see these 2 little eyes peeking up at me, and I was like, oh, it's Baxter. So I immediately jumped up, and I didn't know what to do. I was panicked. I was like, he's gonna, like, freak out and run away, and I'm never gonna find him again. So I played it cool. I played it very cool. I just kind of moved my bed out. Oh my god, my head. I moved my bed out from where it was, and he was clinging to the side of the mattress, so I quickly scooped him up and put him back in his cage, and I think that was like the most terrifying experience I've had with an animal to date. And the reason it was so terrifying was because hamsters can literally hide anywhere. I had no idea where he was, and it kind of just panicked me to know that this little creature is somewhere around my house. But I ended up finding him, and it all turned out good. But when I put him back in the cage, I was trying to figure out how in the world he got out. Now, my sister had said her cat was messing with the cage that day, and I had kind of figured he maybe like tried to lift him out and he got away. But as soon as I put him back in the cage, Baxter showed me exactly how he got out. In the cage, there's a water bottle, and what Baxter did was he used the water bottle to climb out of his cage. I thought the water bottle was low enough so he couldn't, but it turns out he could. And immediately after I put him in there, he started crawling his way out once again. So the moral story is this: if you have a hamster, put a cover on the cage. You just never know when they're going to crawl out. And in fact, I'm working on getting a cover right now for that cage because I don't want that to happen again. And I don't want anybody to have to experience that because it is terrible. It's awful. I hate it so much. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little story. I am going to try to post more. I know I keep saying that and I never do, but I am trying do more, and I promise it's going to get better eventually. So make sure you stick around, make sure you hit that likes button, make sure you subscribe, comment down below the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to you with a pet, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.